Double-fisted middle
Hey,
finger
it is.
blowout.
Hey, it's the Middle Finger Blowout live on Facebook. Boogie with the Bull Tuesday Night Live. I'm Dave Glover, you're not. And with me is Michael Anthony from Studio 10 Broadcasting, 10 O'Clock Talks, Middle Finger Network, the Dark Radio Network Project. We'll probably come back tomorrow and I'll still be naming off groups and broadcasts that Michael Anthony did. You know when you love him from everything he taught people who do political broadcasts, that you can't just function by doing political broadcasts every night. You have to include more, and there is more to life than just getting up and reading news that you hate, don't agree with, and bitching about it with your family all day long and your friends on Facebook and coming on and doing a broadcast. There are 5 days left of 2024. Tonight's homework assignment for anybody who wants to take one: start working on your New Year's resolutions and start posting them in the groups. I don't care what the topic of the group is or what the name of the group is. Post your New Year's resolutions in the group. And I hope they're not just all political, that we have to get Donald Trump back. We have to get Joe Biden not to run. We have to do this. We have to do that. Life. When's the last time you had a conversation with anybody on Facebook about something you liked and they liked that wasn't political? And with that rant, I turn it over to Mr. Michael Anthony to speak for a few minutes.
Yeah, I was trying to put you into my news feed real quick. Okay, hope everybody had a very pleasant holiday. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. And we are heading towards a new year, 2024, for better or for worse, for richer or for poor. And I think we're going to be facing that, just like the marriage license put in front of us when we decided to say we will tie that knot. We have to break chains in America.
We do.
And I know I've been talking lately and I've been promoting lately a substantial amount of what a lot of people would consider BS. But until we break these chains to teach our children, like the song says, teach your children well. All these significance.
Let me interrupt for 1 second. I want to bring in Jerry Michaels because he's here. So, Jerry, you're more than welcome to join the conversation. Jerry Michaels, the host of the American Rebellion, or what I call the American Rumble, because it's over on Rumble now, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, 7 p.m. till it ends. And I'm glad to have you here, Jerry. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate it. I'll just go on listening to Michael here. Make me cry some more, probably.
No, go ahead. My mind's already left that platform.
Okay.
I have to go read stuff and look stuff up, and then I find out he's right, and then I sit in the corner a lot in the fetal position and cry, and so.
Well, you're better than me. I just go to the fetal position and cry because he's always right anyway. I don't even have to go.
True. That's not true. I got to argue with you guys. Look, I'm just trying to observe and trying to come up with conclusions, and I only just feel in my heart. And a lot of this really happened in my own mind yesterday, being with my children and grandchildren, and seeing that as a teacher, that they do hear us and they amaze me at times. I think we just need to pursue that scenario of what we do for the kids is what we will do for tomorrow. And we shouldn't give up on this, even if we have to walk away from certain agendas and narratives because we're sick into our stomach from them all. But, the fact is, these are going to be the leaders of tomorrow, whether it's one of our children or somebody else's, that we can put valid points on and support mechanisms to them to know that we love them. And the system of what we need is them, because they are going to be a strength in the future where we can no longer be at. And we'll be beyond this sensibility of what we know as humanity into this next new realm of whateverness is, meaning they'll be on their own. And anything we can do to put them in a place and frame of mind to strengthen them to be able to do that, we need to do it. We need to do it. And when I push the narrative about, like, come on, ask the hard questions. Let's start removing all the ideologies that we were even misled with, that we still exist in and live in, and Christmas being one of them. And I'm not saying anything about it. I don't want to, this has nothing to do with anybody's beliefs, and that is blah, blah, blah. It doesn't. It really doesn't. But when you really do the history work, it's mind boggling, and it opens one's mind to consider some of these facts of what's more important. Yep. And so on and so on. I won't get into that. But I mean, I think everybody knows where that is, because once you give a gift, you are actually, putting somebody, when they say to you, oh, you shouldn't have, you probably shouldn't have, because then they feel obligated and obligations to, like, oh, and they feel terrible inside, even if one's demeanor is only to do better for somebody else. We still put them on a scenario in ways like that. But when it comes down to the reality effect, we know in 1823, this all started by pretty much what you might want to call a poem of Santa Claus. And that did start in 1823. So, and this narrative has grown and played into our lives. And now some people may look next month on the credit card bill, the impact of what that means and what it has done. When I see that the corporate elites actually had a positive gain of 0.3%, a full 3%, that's billions and billions and billions of dollars in profit when you add up and talliate everything. I tried to fight back on that mechanism this Christmas and say sometimes it's easier to give a gift of love and baked goods or something that are, but here I'm the guy that promoted it, and my kids overwhelmed me with gifts. They truly did. So the only thing I could think of is, why didn't I get anything made from America?
Yeah. My mother-in-law, Donna's mother, going to the family Christmas party every year, baked something. Might have bought you something, but she baked something. She made all kinds of cakes, cookies, breads, and so you always got something baked from her along with whatever she bought you. And I said to Jen last week, how come nobody makes stuff, crafts or whatever, just something, like if my brother wanted a book cover and I made book covers, why didn't I make him a book cover? My mother, what do you call it? The placeholder, the little slip you stick in the book to mark your place in it. Simple, stupid things that all of us would be so wickedly overjoyed if we got. I remember one year Mother Glovin got mad at her 5 kids because we grabbed every roll of Reynolds Wrap aluminum foil, and all 5 of us wrapped our presents to the other 4, and then took a pen and made it look like we engraved our own wrapping paper for each person. And it was really cool. And I wonder, maybe I'm 61 years old and I'm playing the dementia card, but I don't remember when we stopped doing that. Jerry, what do you got to say?
That focus point, you're right. It was old school, and I'll quit in 1 second, but I agree with you. It was old school thought of gifting. And the trigger point around 1923, 1920, we seen that element change. And then shortly after, we saw the movies. We saw Miracle on 34th Street. We saw Macy's. We saw Mr. Gimbel's. We saw Santa Claus getting a little something added into his paycheck. It became corporate. It became a disaster in America because people accepted it as Santa Claus being a factual member of society of realness, and it's not. It's completely strangeness. But again, we adopted into it, and this contamination It's not just something that happened today, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. It's been happening for the past 150 to 200 years. I mean, when you go back to 1823 and look up and do research on how that all started, it can be Googled. I'm not telling you it's going to be true, but it is factual. They may be manipulating, self-manipulating some of the information, but it is factual. But they took it, they ran with it, and then they put him in a red suit. I mean, the pyramid of red shoes, red blood. I mean, let's face it all has to do with something satanically red. And when you look at all the narratives of all the everythings that we celebrate, it's called the said seven deadly sins. But no one looks into the factual artifacts of what people have tried actually to teach us. Again, now we have the brilliance of technology and research abilities, and we can solve a lot of this, but we have to walk away from a lot of it and say, this new tomorrow that we try to create is we abolish it all, get rid of it all, throw it out the door, and go back to the old school methods where, sometimes gifting was more looked upon as betterment because we did something with our own bare hands. The same as when you looked on all these streets in the United States of America and look what our forefathers built. It wasn't the brilliance of the ideas of the bank behind it, even though it was all to make the rich richer, but it was the fact that we were that creative and we didn't lose that creativity. We never lost it. We're still utilizing it now. It's just being done differently, handled by every government control in the United States of America, as our true friend Jerry has always said, under total control.
Mr. Jerry, thoughts?
You might be in that corner trying to figure it out.
Listen, I get the whole commercialization and everything. I get that. And I don't like it. I went to Black Friday once. It was the last time I ever did it. I actually got there at 5 a.m. and there were 10,000 people at the mall. And we all know my thoughts on people, so that wasn't a fun time for me. I spent about $600 in, I would say, less than 2 hours. And I said to myself, I'm never doing that again. However, I don't really see the big deal in telling kids there's a Santa Claus. Okay, I don't really see the big deal of buying gifts for people you like or love or whatever. I see a problem with being, I've been kind of forced, not really forced, but felt obligated to buy gifts for people like my boss at one point. Didn't care for that, but then, it didn't ruin my life either. I get the fact that this is all about retail and everything. I get it. Right. It's just, I think it's up to the individual to decide if they want to spend more money than they have on Christmas, which when we used to celebrate it, we did every year and we survived and we made up for it and whatever. But for that one day, my family was with me, and it was a good day. It was worth the money to me. I do wish I could do without the 10,000 commercials, and I could definitely do without the government. I just, little kids are different. Let them believe in fantasy. Let them have their innocence. Let them have this. I mean, we take so much from them as it is. I mean, Jesus Christ, they're doing school shooter drills and all this other bullshit in school. We got to give them some kind of innocence. I mean, that's just my opinion, whatever it's worth.
No, hey, you know what? I feel for you. I might not have been clear there. I never want to take from the children. And I agree with that. And gift giving, there's nothing wrong with it. It's the overboard, the overabundance. It's like you said, it comes down to all that push. So if I came across on a narrative of directness just as an attack, well, it was, but it wasn't meant all to be purposely that way. Honestly, my idea of gift was recirculating cash. I thought that would be one of the beneficial things, and I made sure that there was, I did things in inventive ways for the kids to hopefully put value points across with the point of why they got what they got and how I did it. But no, I'm with you on that. But I mean, if we do, is there a point? Let me ask you a question. Is there a point where when we know we did all we could for the children as they were innocent children, having just this fantasy of goodness with instilled within them, but when do we take it out from them? Is there ever going to be a positive removal system of it to say, hey, okay, now I know I told you all that, but guess what? It's really not about that. With the, I mean, it's the facing of the realities, and there's many to come with it when we do things like that. So if I came across, my apologies, but again, I respectfully understand where you're at, and I agree with you. So I'll just say that, but because you're not wrong, I do agree with you, and I'm glad you see the sense, and at least we're coming to common ground. That is what's most beneficial. Common grounds between us all, debating conversation.
But it's also like what people say. Oh, go ahead, Jerry.
The way I see it is, yes, one day the kid's going to come home because one of his friends keeps saying there's no Santa Claus or nothing. I remember when it happened to me. And I came home and asked my mom, and she sat me down and explained it. And then all of a sudden it dawned on me, is there an Easter bunny? That kind of thing. No, there's no Easter bunny. We put the shit under your pillow. I lived through it. I was also taught as I went the real world. I didn't realize I was being taught the real world. Like when you go into a store, you don't act up, that kind of crap. And I got taught that throughout my life. When I left home at 18 years old, I was almost 19, but I was still 18. To go into service, I knew right from wrong. Many times after that, I chose to do wrong, even though I knew it was wrong. Okay. Thing is, what I see now is parents suddenly, are trained. They can't hit the kid. They can't really discipline them without somebody getting pissy, all this. And they let kids be kids is not a way to raise children. There is a time and a place for kids to be kids. And then there's a time and place for kids to shut the hell up and do what they're told, as there is with adults. I mean, you can go out and party on Saturday night if you want, as long as by Friday all your bills are paid, and your family is in good shape, and so on and so forth. We don't have enough of this daily reminder stuff that parents are either too lazy, don't care, or think what they're doing is fine. All right, because kids already think they're the only people on the planet, and they need to be taught they're not. They need to be taught right from wrong. They need to be taught not to lie, cheat, and steal. They need to, and those things need to be taught every single day of their life. Okay. And if some lady says Santa Claus ain't going to bring you no presents if you don't straighten up, and that kid straightens up, I'm good with that too. All right. I think it has more to do with discipline than anything else, and lack thereof. We got too many feral kids running around this country, and they're older kids mostly, and the government allows them to get away with crap, and they're laughing at all the adults because they think they can. And when they come into the real world, they don't understand why they're continuously getting punched in the face, because the real world doesn't put up with that crap from anybody.
Yeah.
And whatever that you get out of that, I guess you get. But
No, I get it.
the hell is
There's
Canada?
logic in,
What?
brother. There's logic in everything you're talking about. There really is. I mean, but to me, there is certain things that create displacement. Children grow up to be Furbies for whatever reason. I mean, I could make bunches of narratives of what it all means and where it goes and the possibilities of how it stays and where it comes from. Dave, go ahead.
I agree with Jerry. We do have a responsibility to bring up our kids to be ready to go out and face the world one day. And I laugh every time I hear Jerry say, kids don't get on bikes and go ride bikes anymore without being bundled up in jackets and other protective gear, helmets and gloves and this and that. That if we had to wear when we were growing up riding bikes, I don't think we would have done it. We would have figured out another way to get around. And so I don't know what to do either. Because we were raised Jewish, we weren't taught to believe that a fat guy was going to come down our chimney. And because my parents had a burglar alarm system in the house, it would have triggered the alarm if he did. So I don't really know. I mean, there is a point where your kids get old enough that if they don't figure it out for themselves, then maybe we have to tell them. But it's like you watch the movie Elf, and Will Ferrell leaves the North Pole to go find his real father in New York, and he goes into a store and he sees Santa Claus, and it's not the Santa Claus that he thinks. So yeah. I don't know anymore. And we understood growing up in my parents' house that they gave us things that we needed, and we got to pick out something big, something nice each year. And we knew that my dad worked, and off and on my mom worked, and they had money, and they went into debt every year for 8 days. And so I don't know. I really don't know, because I guess it kind of depends on.
In the end, I think you can teach both at the same time. Let the kid have his innocence. You should be teaching a child who is old enough to walk and talk about the realities of life sometimes at a different scale. Okay, you have to tell kids, and now it seems to be you got to tell them earlier about bad people who may want to do bad things to them.
Right.
I remember one year I was little. I was probably 5 or 6, something like that. I don't know, but it was winter already. It snowed on the ground. I remember that, and all I could think about was the fact that they had caught some guy putting razor blades in candied apples, because back when we were kids, that was a huge thing. A lot more people did candied apples back then, and they were good at it too, because I know I ate a lot of them. And that all I could think to myself at that age was my parents saying we have to check all your candy. Why? I still ask the same question. Why would you do that? However, it was explained to me as it was explained to me, at that age, these are sick people. And I don't think that's the way to explain it to anybody. They may be sick people, but I don't give a shit. They should be shot. And I don't think you should tell a kid to shoot somebody either. But um, people that do things like this deserve harsh punishment. And that they are bad people, not sick people, because they are bad people. We have bad people in this country. I know some of them have mental illness or have this or have that, but I'm not going to sugarcoat like a serial killer or a pedophile. I explained in my first marriage to 3 young boys, they were 8 and 10, why they weren't allowed, if they couldn't see me, I couldn't see them, and why they weren't allowed to be anywhere they couldn't see me. And one day I set them down and told them very quite frankly that there are people out there that want to have do vicious things to you, so something to that effect, and then kill you. Now, when I say kill you, I mean you don't see your friends anymore. You don't see anything. You are just dead and buried. That's it. And that's what they want to do to you. Now, do these kids think about that 24/7 when they're out playing and want to go hang out at this house and got to run back and tell me where they're going every single time? No, they're pissed off about that. But at least they have it in their head because those people exist. Those people shouldn't exist, or at least shouldn't exist long, but they do. And I just believe that you can do both. You can give them their innocence on certain things, and you can also teach them about the real world. I just think I don't believe in lying to kids, but when it comes to, like, the Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, and they're 3 years old and all excited, I'm certainly not going to pop their bubble or anything like that. Because eventually, how they learn it mostly, and how they learn a lot of things from life, is hanging around with other kids. That's what I've noticed. And then they may come home and have, like, my one stepson he come home one day, says, "Jerry, is there a Santa Claus?" And this is what I told him. I said, "Well, let me ask you this: Do you like Santa Claus? Yeah. Do you believe in him? Yeah. Then there's a Santa Claus." By the next year, he knew it was me and his mother. It didn't ruin his life. It didn't do any of that. I mean, if you're an adult and you still believe in Santa Claus, I got to tell you the truth. You may need some family-sized jar of lithium on your countertop or something. Maybe do that. I don't know, but I think for me, and it's only every other year because my daughter is married now, but Christmas is more about the feeling of it than anything else. Being together with your family, getting along with your family, having a meal. As I see that, Michael has shown us this last week here, um, and I feel like that's what Christmas is. You sit and talk and enjoy it. But if there were little kids involved, then for me, watching them open their presents and the big surprise and all, I like that. I don't know. I don't think it really hurts anybody. I
No,
think the
I
commercialism of it does.
right.
I think that the
I agree
commercial
with you.
of everything hurts people, and I'm tired of it because that's not what any of this is supposed to be about. Although we do live in a free market and we live in a, you know, that's how it works. It's going to be commercialized. Um,
Right. Well, that's the part that I
so you
would
got to
like
live
to
with
see.
that.
Right, but that's the part that I would love to see us be able to defend ourselves from. And like a 3-year-old, I mean, they know what they're taught in their own homes at 3 years old because they're not around kids in schools yet. Preschool hasn't begun. So it's what we're doing. It's what we're implanting or what we're allowing them to see to be implanted through the manipulation of projects such as TV projects. And they learn from that. So maybe we don't, illustrate enough of interest for them to be able to touch base with them when this mind is that sponge absorbing everything, but yet we support everything, and there's goodness to that. And one of them being one of the most important factors is a couple Christmases ago, don't visit with your family, holidays are bad, everyone is sick, the world is sick. They were trying to stop us, and that was the only part of the fragment they were trying to stop. That was the only one. Don't deal with people. Don't. They didn't tell you not to buy for everybody. They just said don't deal with other people. Stay home. Your life's in jeopardy. You'll put other people in jeopardy. It's the strategy of what they use, but at the same time, we're complicating some of these own issues. And when I used to say it's children having children. Well, children were being married at 14 and 15 years old 150 years ago. You know, they were really already creating families, appropriating and creating families. So it doesn't mean that the body's not ready, but the mind is not always. So, you know, that's the problem. Children having children that haven't been raised, and the time being taken, as you said, when it's time to be that parent, and you said it, Jerry, that you sit down with them and you elaborate on the importance of, I can see you. And when I cannot, there's a problem with that. That is proper etiquette. But these other children, having these children who never got to sit down with a proper parent, doesn't know these factors. So it puts us in a dilemma of how to address a lot of things, but that's part of the dissonance that's been created. That manipulation, it makes it hard for us. And sometimes we're forgetful to be protective of them in different scenario ways. I wish it could be easier, and it may never be. In the meantime, we make the best of what we have. And hopefully some days, at some point, sometime in the future, if it is meant to be, a more powerful greatness will correct it all. However, I think we are that cure. It's what we put in and instill in our teachings back in our own families, and just in passing within the suggestion of a warm hello to somebody, to say that there is goodness in the world within people, but there also lies evil.
You know, it's funny. I see it here in Florida.
It's absolutely.
I'm sorry, Jerry. I didn't hear you, brother. I apologize. I didn't hear you.
I can agree with that. I think we have a lack of morals in this country that is not being taught in the house. I mean, when I was little, I'm not religious at all, but we were forced to go to church every Sunday. We were forced to go to CCD. We were forced to go all this stuff. And then at home, you also learn things like manners, and you don't punch somebody in the face for no reason. If somebody hits you, you hit them, back. You don't start shit. You don't, do all kinds of things that we're not supposed to be doing, that obviously is not being taught now. Whether you want to blame the church or you want to blame the parents, it has to come from somewhere. And my basic common denominator, the lowest one I can come to, is inside the four walls of your own house. If you don't teach it there, it may not get taught anywhere else. Okay. And it still becomes on the parents, whether they like it or not. It's their child. They agreed to have it. They agreed to raise it. And they need to be the one teaching these things, because we have a serious lack of morals or right and wrong or whatever it is in this country. Serious lack of it. Now, all kids do stupid things. That's our job in life. We drive our parents crazy. We make them older before their time. Okay. And then hopefully we've learned enough from them that when we go out in the world, we do okay. But in the end, if they are not being taught these things by anyone, okay, how are they supposed to do that? All right. If you're telling, it's a 15-year-old girl getting pregnant, there is no excuse for a 15-year-old girl getting pregnant. Every kid on the planet knows about birth control, but they choose to, throw it off and just do it. Or the girl gets this idea that she loves this guy and wants to have his baby, and doesn't realize she's 14 really, and that guy ain't going to be around much in 3 months or 6 months, or the day he finds out she's pregnant. Right. Okay, but there's still no excuse. It's everywhere. All right, there's no excuse for a teenage pregnancy other than the fact that, and one of the reasons I used to tell my kids and my daughter, I said, I want to know where you're at, because I don't want the cops coming to my door and you making me look like an idiot when they ask me where you're at. And I have to say, I don't know. All right. I want to at least be able to tell them something. And they all thought that was very funny, but it's not, because a lot of parents have no clue.
Yeah.
And I remember one New Year's Eve, she was 18 years old, and she took the truck that we had just gotten her, and I said, don't drive the truck tonight. She says, I'm not gonna. And they went to the bar, and I was going to go into that bar and ask the bartender why they were feeding my 18-year-old daughter, alcohol. And my wife wouldn't let me go because she didn't want her embarrassed. I regret not doing that to this very day.
Yeah.
Why? Because had she gone out of there and killed herself for someone else, that would have ruined her entire life, and I wouldn't have cared much if she hated me for the next 6 months for doing that. And I failed at that.
Yeah.
That was plain and simple. I should have went and I should have done that. But I failed. Luckily, nothing happened. But how many parents have the same thought and something does happen? Just all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave, say hello to some of the people coming in. You got Larry and Cal.
Yeah,
and
got Larry Burns, Jolene Kirkland Foster is watching. She's always welcome. Larry Burns is up in Canada. That means Boogie with the Bull is international tonight. I know. I like saying that, Michael. It makes me feel
Boogie
good.
with the
Now,
bully.
Boogie with the bully.
I think you need to come up with put the bully in place there because we got to bully back. We got to bully back.
Boogie with the Bully is international tonight. River Rose is watching, and Alan McMillan is watching, and William Grant is watching, and that's
Share us.
Robin Brunson just came in. Yeah, everybody, if you're watching, share it in whatever groups you're in, and if
your news feed will be fine.
Put it on your news feed. Put it in the groups that you're in, and if they allow it. And they keep it there. Let me know, and we'll make sure that it gets there.
All right, Dave. Why don't you take us into the next phase of what this is all about tonight? You had a lot of good ideas.
Well, I mean, if we got to them, we got to them. You know, the two questions that I brought, because I always tell people I bring a question is, it's the day after Christmas. Did you go out shopping for after Christmas sales? Where did you go? If you got gift cards, did you go to cash them in immediately? What gifts, if any, did you get that you had to return? Because I was notorious growing up where I would go and buy my sisters. This was years before people used gift cards and gift certificates. I would go to stores that my sisters wanted clothes from, and I would buy something knowing that they wouldn't wear and put the receipt in it so that they would go back and pick out something that they would wear. And then the other question is, like I said, it's 5 days before the end of 2023. It goes in the books. So is anybody working on or even thinking about New Year's resolutions? Do people even make New Year's resolutions before? I mean, anymore? And don't do the ones that I know everybody's going to make. They resolve that President Trump gets elected in 2024. Yes, we all support Trump, but do we resolve to go to the school board and have them stop teaching 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kids that it's okay to be a girl if you're a boy? And do we finally go to the school board and say, you're teaching things that you shouldn't be teaching, and we don't want that anymore. And you're teaching things that we as parents are also responsible for teaching our children. And we want to be involved in that because, you know, kids are different at home than they are at school, and they're different at school than they are at home. But anyway, if you got something, you got a question you want to say, bring it up. River Rose has a comment that I'm going to go over to this one so I can read it. Are you kidding me? When I lived in Ocala, that's here in Florida, being a mom who cares about her son, I became a place for kids who have absent parents. I got stories that could give good parents nightmares. Yeah, there was always, and that's a good point, River. There was always that one house where I guess you could call him or her the ringleader of the group, and we all went to their house because their mom was the cool mom, and you know, we all felt good and we talked about everything. And you always knew that if you had an adult that you could talk to and you were too afraid to go talk to your own parents, you could talk to the ringleader's mom, or the den mom, as we used to call them. But anyway, Robin Burns joined us. Excuse me, Robin Brunson joined us, and it's a pleasure to have you watching, Robin.
All right, may I make a comment now?
You may make a comment now.
Okay, thank you for that. And the reason why I don't want to forget this, and I don't know how important it is to other people, but the narrative of the return system. We've all returned things, and in the past, I guess we got away with a lot. People ripped packages open, destroyed them, whatnot. But yet the kid didn't want it, or they found something wrong with it, or there was a malfunction, a dysfunction, this, that, or the other for whatever reason. I mean, you just can't go back now, like in the same way that you did. Everything's on. You paid the shipping to return it. And that's like, well, I'm not going to do that. Garbagizing. I'm not pro garbage like that. I'm just not. But a lot of people are going to just like hand it over that way, and they're not thinking. And I know we don't think, we allow things to happen. But, every year they come up with a different little bang to the end of the theory on the return systems of how things have changed and what they've become. And if you're going to go all the way through with it, it's going to cost you even more money, and sometimes even restocking fees. So you might have spent $10, shipping's $10, and there's $4. You owe them money.
But Walmart, but Walmart even years ago created a hassle-free return, because if you could bring something that you didn't even know if they bought it at Walmart, you could go to the customer service desk and say, hey, I got this box of Christmas cookies and I'm allergic to it. And Walmart used to say, well, we can't take it because we don't sell it. They'd look and they'd try to find if they could get a SKU for it, and they'd give you a Walmart card. So if someone spent $25 on that box of Christmas cookies that they really wanted you to have, you got the $25 and you went in and bought a case of Powerade if that's what you wanted. So, they didn't help us. Amazon, I don't even understand the Amazon refund system, because my brother orders everything from Amazon. And if he gets it and he ordered one size and they send him a different size and it doesn't fit, they tell him to keep that and they're going to send him the right size. So
there was a point they were doing that, but you're not going to get away with that anymore. They are putting new regulations in place. But again, I'm not disagreeing with you. I remember Walmart doing that and whatnot, but try all those things now. Now that the control levers have changed to where we only have less than a handful of places to shop in America. Now you might have this little bit of a thrift store type place that opened up and it's doing semi-okay, and you bought from them and you may need to go there, but you should give all respect to anybody who has any kind of signs up on what their return policies are. But I'm just saying they're becoming a lot more odd, a lot more harsh, to where, what you get is what you receive. And if you ordered it, it becomes yours. So it's not necessarily a no return hassle policy anymore. I guess I just want to say, So I hope people follow the instructions and do the best you can, because in some scenarios, it could actually cost you more to return an item. And many people are just going to hang up the phone, just like talking to a bot or a foreigner that you can't even understand, and just say, this is not worth my time. The kid doesn't get the gift. You don't get your money. Where does it go? You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. So we want to be careful with some of those catch-22s. And I'd like to hear about people's scenarios if they come up, and if you do, write me. I'd like to just hear about how things are going that way.
Yeah. It's tough it's tough. I mean, I get to the point every Christmas where for, I don't know, probably the last 10 years, we just buy people a couple of things that we want to give them, and then the rest is gift cards so that they can just go and shop, because I don't care. I'm not going to give you cash. I just think giving money is rude. I'll give you a gift card to a store and then you go buy whatever you want. But I mean, I don't know. But hey, Keith, you made a comment that it's not true. So let me know what isn't what I said that wasn't true. And Keith, if you want to take the link, you're more than welcome to join us. We've asked you a bunch of times, and I know you're not always available to come and join. If you want to hop on, you're more than welcome. And Dave, the guy in the upper right corner next to me, that's Michael Anthony, Robin, from 10 O'Clock Talks, Studio 10 Broadcasting. He's the one you see all the black and white posts in the Facebook news feed, a sentence long that gets you thinking for the day. And an all-around good guy. Anyway, and Jerry Michaels, everybody knows, is from the American Rebellion, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday over there on Rumble Land. And we're just having an all-around conversation tonight. If we don't talk anything about what's happening politically tonight, it's fine with me. If we break over and talk into something later about it, or something comes up, that's okay. But
well, I don't know about you guys. I'm going to have a cigarette and let Jerry take the lead there. I mean, hey, Jerry,
Yep.
Get make any good New Year's resolutions?
Well, I'm not going to make the usual. I haven't made a New Year's resolution in probably 15 years because normally that's a waste of time. However, for the next year, I'm going to start getting very organized. I want to start, collecting things that may be needed. Perhaps growing some of my own food. We'll see how that goes because there's work to be done before that. But that's my plan. I'm a pretty self-sufficient guy. I don't ever ask for help unless I absolutely have to have it, which is actually a plus in this bad situation a lot of times. It's also not. It's also a minus in bad situation too sometimes. But the point is that no, Robert, I'm not gonna. That's funny. I feel like we all need to at least look at the situation for what it is right now and see that it has not gone well. It has gotten worse in the last 3 years, sorry, a little over. And it is going to continue to get worse. It's not going to get better. And I think that we need to start using our heads. And, there's a lot of, even if you live week to week, there's a lot of things that you can do to kind of, prepare yourself for a bad time. Now, if the bad time doesn't get as bad as I think, or Michael, or anybody else thinks, what is the worst that can happen? You have some extra stuff. I think that's, I don't think that's bad. Canning your own food, stuff like that. I have all the stuff to do it. I'm probably going to be setting up my beehives next year. See how that goes. And hopefully, at least be as prepared as I can be for whatever situation is coming. I can tell you immediately I'm not going to quit smoking because I've tried that for about 30 years. That never worked. I'm probably not going to lose any weight. I'm not going to be able to grow hair because that's just a dream now. Yeah, but a real life thing. I think that's more important. Now, if you weigh 720 pounds, losing weight probably be good for you. If you smoke 6 packs a day, quitting smoking probably be good for you. All right, I don't do either of those. I personally think that being as ready as possible for anything is where we're living now. It's a proven fact that I live in outside a small town in Chiefland, Florida. Okay, but things happen there too. We had 2 cops assassinated 30 miles from here in another small town, smaller than Chiefland. Right. So in the end, um, it could happen anywhere. It may not be, government troops and all this other stuff, but it could just be anything. And you need to be aware of your surroundings, and you need to be aware of what you have to fall back on. Okay. And you have to be aware of the people around you at all times. And it's not hard. I've been doing it for years and years and years. It's second nature. It's not hard to train yourself to do, and train yourself to do, you will have to. Um, because most people don't, judging by what I see in parking lots of the Walmart or the store, where people park their carts in the middle of it and decide to have a 20-minute conversation on their weekend. Okay. It's stuff like that. Being courteous to others, stuff like that, because where they were discussing, I think Mike was saying this before, there's nothing wrong with being nice to people. If they want to, this is my way of thinking. If they want to ignore me, I will ignore them. If they do something for me, I will say thank you. If they say thank you to me, I will say you're welcome. And you know what that does? Nothing really. But if more and more people did it, we would have a much more polite society without people getting beat up or shot or stabbed or any of that kind of garbage. We could prove, I go around everywhere I go, I wear a Trump hat. It's sitting on the dashboard of my truck. When I get out of my truck, it's on my head. And one of the things I feel like I do is, and I'm not doing it on purpose. It's the way I am. I will be polite. I will be, somebody asks me to get something off the top shelf, I'll do it, and I'll wear that freaking Trump hat. And I do. The reason I wear the Trump hat is to prove we don't have horns. We're not all racist pieces of shit, as you will have people believe. Okay.
Yeah. I
I
agree with
think
that.
we need a much more moral society, a polite society. Where I live, most people are exactly like that. They're decent people. But no matter where you live, you get bad seeds. Okay. Where I live, there's not a bunch of murders and rapes and that kind of thing. Okay. But they happen from time to time. All right. I think that I think it's time we change a lot of things. It's almost impossible to buy anything in this country made in America. And I think you can't do it every time, but I think you should try. When you go on to Amazon or you go on to eBay, look for stuff that's actually sold in America. Now, the Chinese have infiltrated us pretty good. They got warehouses every damn where. And much of the stuff is made in China. Okay. But you can put look for stuff made in America. Uh, you know, we need to start doing that. Um, it's there's a lot of things that we can do, including telling the government we're not doing it. I'm not doing any shots. I'm not. I'm not going to be taking tests for you. I'm not going to be following your every rule and regulation. I'm going to do what the hell I want because I'm a freeborn American. Period. End of discussion. And I am not interested in what you think about it. I went out yesterday and burned garbage. I burned plastic. I burned paper. I burned every fucking thing, and I don't care. And nobody's going to tell me any damn different. And if they don't like it, they can try finding me, and then they can try finding me. And then when they tell me they're going to take my place, then they can come and get it along with my dead body. And that may sound like hyperbole or anything you want to make it sound like. That's how that I made this decision a long time ago, and I stand by it.
Thank you. Everything was very interesting and mindful. Just reflecting back on something, not to trying to take the mic from you, Dave. I apologize. I can
No, it's okay. It's
I can
okay.
be really brief, but I do think it's better to have extra than not have enough. and to think ahead into the future and to make these changes. I mean, anybody that knows me sees the garden work, the time I put into things and whatnot. And if you want to call me a prepper or just someone with that has a standard of preparations, uh, draw your own conclusion there. I'll accept it because you're probably not going to be wrong. But I think, when it comes to paper products, alcohol, honey, there are certain things that are going to be very important and you can get longevity from. So if you're willing to at least do that, have something to wipe your ass with. I mean, come on. I'm going to just be frank. At least think within the scenario of logic here. Maybe 200 cans of goods is not, but we don't. What they're putting into canned goods is probably not favorable either. So the more you can do by hand is going to be where you'll have the most positive outcome. So, I thought everything you said there was really intelligently smart. But if I was to go into the new year, I think I'd grow my white beard just a little bit longer to shave my head so me and Jerry could sit side by side with each other and call ourselves brothers with different mothers. But anyway, maybe we could pull it off. It's kind of like a bucket list. It's kind of like a bucket list. We're not all going to ever see them through, and we have to make peace with it. But it doesn't mean that we can't, collect and gather our information and make the best use of it. And I think that's where Jerry's going. I applaud him for the things he's saying. And the fact that he'll stand up his own life for more purposeful causes than where most guys or most women would run in the opposite direction with their tail stuck up their ass. And that's the problem in America. So what we can do without ever yet facing these scenarios of possibility is to make preparations because we're going down a path that's very dark. And it's not even really amongst us. I mean, I'll be releasing more things that I hope will help. And once these things help, I think the awareness of the eye openings may help even more because of the idolism clause that goes on in America of idols. Everybody, if he's an idol, he's better than everybody else on the internet. Bullshit. That's not the truth of the fact. The truth of the fact is when you can hear the words come fluidly from somebody's mouth that's not reading a monologue or reading from a teleprompter, which is a lot of us normal people out here doing citizen journalism and trying to give the information as we find it and see it. But I will say this, I'm a little concerned about New Year's Eve and Times Square. We've seen some things for Christmas that we're not positive within any type of reason through the holiday of Christmas. So that worries me a little bit. Now, I also something else a factor why I'm saying what I'm saying and supporting Jerry and my own theories is the fact that we are now seeing full control military reactions to a lot of things that we are reacting to that has so-called happened to us. So we are now as Americans with military, moving forward. And to me, that is the cause of the World War III and the biblical content of awareness that even the books have, told the Christian people of the end of times. And so when you see things like this, you should never take anything off the table or take it with a grain of salt. We need to take the information and utilize it on what's most purposeful for us for longevity and so forth, and to protect our children's and our houses and by having enough blankets, enough firewood, things like that. Because, just general necessities are going to be what are going to get us through probably some of the most darkest times, whether they tell you we've been cyber attacked or it was all done by a solar flare from the sun and it was done by the hands of man somehow. But they can manipulate when they hold strength. The problem is that when we vote people into these higher places, we lose all purpose of voice because we place them in the leadership, which means they overrule us. So, we have to be very cautious as to how we move into the future. The element of 2024 can be devastating or it could be fruitful. We don't know how it'll go if it ever gets there. But in the meantime, take everything that Jerry said and consider it on how you can do whatever you can do um, in a better way for yourself. And I'll leave it at that, because I know I kind of ran all over the board, but it all sort of stems together. And the most disappointing part, before I give up back to you, Dave, is the fact we give these people the damn power, and then our power becomes useless. And we don't know if they're going to turn out to be good or bad, but we have seen that result, and it needs addressed.
I think all we do here, or at least all I've tried to do here, is get people to watch, get people to talk, get people to listen. And then you, at the end of the day, have to decide what you need to do for yourself. I believe that it's a good time to start prepping. I can't tell you what you need, Jerry, no less than I can tell Michael what he needs, or you guys can tell me what I need. So it's going to be an individual thing. Things you take for granted, like meat. That's why I love having Ichabod Palmer on, because that's what he does, and that's part of what he's prepping for. If you want to have meat available, then yeah, prep for meat. But if you want to have toilet paper available, then go to the store as often as you can and buy every 9-pack or 36-pack or whatever you can get, and do that too. My biggest problem is that I get to a point where it depresses me so bad hearing about what could happen any day now, that some days I'll wake up and I'll just feel it's safer to just stay home, not walk out the door, not risk being out there if something happens. And it's a terrible way to live. And I also don't want to live from day to day being paranoid that something is going to happen. Do I believe something is going to happen? Yeah, I believe that there's going to be some kind of a civil war, because that's the only way this is going to be taken care of. Do I know how long it's going to be? No. I don't think the United States military is going to start nuking the United States and trying to take it over that way. But how long it could be, I don't really know. Do I hope Joe Biden snaps out of it one day and realizes that he's not capable of doing the job? Yeah, I'd like to see that, but it ain't going to happen. They probably have the next leader in or picked already to continue screwing up like he is. But, I guess I do support the Convention of States idea, but I don't know how it will happen unless we win, we meaning us, win the war against the government, and then we decide to start everything 2.0 or whatever you want to call it again. I don't know. And I don't know how successful it will be, because my fear is that anybody you elect in to a brand new government, regardless of, even though they have never served in government, I don't believe that they won't figure out some way to get corrupted, because that's the nature of the beast. So I don't really know. I don't really know what the answer is. We did go all over the place. I kind of laughed, though, when you said maybe you should shave your beard and your head and sit next to Jerry Michaels, because there was an American Rebellion one night where Robert Lawless, the Minnesota Madman, came on dressed like Jerry. I don't remember the exact circumstances around it, but I sat there laughing as hard as I could the whole time.
When you're handsome, we all want that look.
Yeah, I know. But I sat there laughing as hard as I could.
That's very true.
Right.
Yeah, and Jerry, Jerry's
well,
the
here's
spokesman.
I was just thinking. I was just thinking something else. We talk about Big Pharma all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And has anybody ever stopped to think about how big pharma is yet another leash around our neck? Shit, it's the fan. Where are you going to get your pills? Where are you going to get your shots? Where are you going to get this? Where are you going to get that? Something to think about. What it is, it's like a leash, and you need it. And if they can take it away from you at any time and you think you're going to die, you could. Some people, I believe, will actually get better, but there's a lot of people out there need what they're taking and whatever, and they're going to die. The government has so many leashes on us. This is not going to be an easy thing.
Right.
I get a kick out of these people with the war, the war. I talk about it too, but I don't wish it because I have an idea of how bad it will be. Most people don't think about how bad it will be. Now, is there a peaceful solution to this? I have no freaking clue. I will
Yeah.
agree with Dave. The one problem with government and anything involving people is the actual people. There are probably good people in the government who try to do their jobs correctly. There's not enough of them by any stretch. And compared to the bad ones, they have no power or voice. We have whistleblowers in the government that half the government shoots down and tries to get fired and all the crap, have them arrested in front of their families, the whole 9 yards. Okay, these are people that are tired, sick, and not a lot of them are not conservatives or this. They just see wrong and they're trying to say something about it. And what happens is they get turned into nuts. Preppers, that has a connotation of, oh, he's a prepper, like you're a nut job waiting for the end of the world. You know, anything that the government doesn't like, they will put a bad connotation on and make it seem like, you're nuts. I remember back in the 80s when everybody was talking about the militias. And for some reason, it was always in Michigan for some reason. I don't know why that was. But, you know, I personally don't think militias are worth anything, to be truthful. Okay. I don't. They've never done a damn thing and they've never going to do a damn thing. But now people aren't looking at it like that. Okay. When they had their chance to stand up and do something, they did nothing. And they were told to do nothing by their leadership. People stormed the Capitol. I thought that was a dumb idea, but they did it. And now they're being held as political prisoners. If you believe just because they're not on your side that it's okay, then you are going to be sorely mistaken or sorely sad when they come through, because once they're done with us, they will come for you. Whether bang the drum for them or not, it's not going to make any damn difference. We are supposed to be in this together as American citizens. Okay. Whether you're born or raised or you came here and got naturalized into being a citizen, we are supposed to be in this together. And we have too much of this. Well, they committed, insurrection. I don't care about that. They did not commit an insurrection. And if you'd spend 5 minutes in a history book, you'd find that the fuck out. They committed stupidity, if you ask me. There was nothing good that was going to come from this at all, period. But they did it what they did. But are they pay? What kind of price are they paying? They're paying a very high price and an unnatural one. And if it was you, what would you be saying when you can't have a lawyer or talk to family or whatever? What would you be saying? See, people are all for it when it's somebody else, but when it's them, they get right pissy. That's for
Yes,
sure.
sir, Bob.
And for one, it's like when the liberals get out in the street and they start saying all the stupid ass crap they say. Okay, you know what? Whether you like it or not, and I'm going to make fun of you just like everybody else, but you got the right to say that. But then you turn around and look, you go to a college campus and see how much rights somebody like me or any of us here would have. Okay, you know, none. Okay, it's fun to take other people's speech away. It's fun to take their rights away. It's fun to take their gun rights, even though you don't know a damn thing about guns. It's fun, and you're winning the war because everything is a war. It's not. A war is when bullets are flying around your head and by a guy you don't even know and he's never done nothing to you, but he's trying to kill you. That's a war. What you're doing is playing a game, and it's a very dangerous one. And one day it's going to get turned around on you.
Yeah, I can only agree with you. And we do that a lot. We tend to agree a lot with each other, but I think it's because we sit in a different phase of thought. But it's true, on many levels. So, where do we go from here? What do we do? As you said, it's easier to stand behind someone who does the job versus being a part of the job with them. That's why I think a lot of people have been manipulated by the savior, the one who will, from Die Hard or whatever the circumstances would be. He'll take down the government. And there's a movie coming out that's going to be expressing on that exactly, where, it seems to be fitting the narrative right at the right time with purpose. There's a place for one man to do this, and he fights back with his fists and hands. And we'll see how that turns out. But it doesn't mean that it's a reality. It doesn't mean that we served purpose in the agenda of the fight to fight back in that scenario. But pharma, just to reflect a little on the pharma, you're right. It's just another leash because of what we do. We sometimes are helping them. I know we don't promote fear purposely, but what we talk about comes across in fear in many ways, whether we're preparing or prepping or we should all be careful or sometimes just the simplest word of nothing that comes across, it becomes part of that leash. And they don't even have to do a full-blown anything to make the world freeze, because the world's starting to get used to freezing, at least in our world in the United States of America. From Pearl Harbor to 9/11 to the lockdown to pandemic, it doesn't matter. People are starting to get used to that. And what do they do then? The egotistical thought comes into mind. Well, I have to listen to the ones that know the best, the ones where the media's giving out all the information, even though they're a full-blown lie out there with fake news. And it puts us in a harsh place, in a bad environment to actually come on and try to conversate the best we can to give analogies to help people, because that's all we really want to do is be helpful. We wake up every day with thoughts of how do I address any, at least I do. I wake up like, how do I best address today's issues to the world better than the most highest paid full skilled workers that do it behind desk cameras and teleprompters. My head doesn't bobble with anybody else's in America unless it's from a podcast that heard me, or somehow we are all reflecting in some way the same story. But the objective is the same. The narrative won't change. And we really do need to keep good insight on that information. I don't know, Jer, as I go into 2024, I do think it's going to be one of the most difficult times because of the uprising that we have actually all been a part of starting, of a movement, of a Trump movement, of a better make America great all over again. And we will do it. We will cut taxes. We will give better health care. We will protect pharmaceuticals from killing the pockets of Americans. We will keep insulin. We will remove opioids. We will get rid of fentanyl. We will close the border and electrify. Please, that's my thing. Electrify that damn border. You know, we gave so much money to Ukraine, we could have built 6 walls. Doesn't matter. Our country's still open. You know, I mean, we could have gave every American $2 million and $50 million to every person. I don't think the mathematical equation was $2 million. But why would they do that? You know, if you did give that much money to America, America would quit working and we would buy up all the goods because we would want everything from that money, and that would just destroy America too. But they take the money, they utilize it, place gag orders. The people who bring forth good information, who are not protected, who are whistleblowing, are right back to where are they? Square one. We've heard it, we've done it, we did it. Now let's wash, rinse, and repeat it, and it's thrown under the carpet. We're getting nowhere, and I think it's because we've been blindsided. Not maybe us personally, or many personal people out there that believe the way we believe, but you know, as I said a little earlier, when we hand over the leadership by vote, they can contaminate anything they want. We really don't know who every person is that comes into office. If they're supported by someone of an upper hand, there goes the ego platform. Will they deliver the way the one did who placed him or tried to place him or voluntarily said, I support this candidate for blah, 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 blah? Do we live with that? Do we go with it? Do we still accept it? You know, I say trust no one, question everything. And that's how we remain purposeful into reconstructing a government. And we won't see it in our lifetime for sure. There's just no possible way we will see it in our lifetime. But again, I guess that reflects back to what we talked about earlier, Jerry, you and I and Dave, saying the best we can do is within those 4 walls. You're saying that should be viral. It all starts in your own 4 walls, and maybe people need to take a real harsh look at that, or accept a kick in the balls and drop to their knees to say, "Oh, okay, I get it, I get it, I get it, I get it, I get it." You know, with their eyes get bulging out of their head. But you know, I think as long as we show up every now and then on the platforms that we do and keep the public awareness out there in an honest way for people to take it and to accept it, absorb it for how they are, because every person is different. We will never all agree on everything, but at least make the best of the obvious, which is the information that is factual, because we have been called conspiracy theorists, deplorables, and much worse, have all been the truth givers. And that has come out and is shown across the board on all sides of government. They can't even deny it, but they do, but they can't deny it. And that's why you will never get a true yes or no, but you'll get a dictation of a sentence to it. Like the one that is most famous: is President Biden our truly elected president? President Biden is the president of the United States. I didn't ask you that. I asked you for a yes or no question. Is he the duly elected president? President Biden is the acting president of the United States, because they know it's a lie. So, I mean, we sit here, we could bring up 1 million facts of proof, but we can only give out one at a time in discussions, and we'll never touch base on all the best factual information we could give in one evening. But, you know, I feel good that there are people willing to keep trying the way we do, bit by bit, brick by brick. If only one ear hears, we are doing something somehow, some way different. That's why Jolene and Cal and your friends like that come in here, support this, went from your group to Dave's group to show support. That means they are the true followers of what is the true meaning of what it means to be an American. That we stand behind each other, we work with each other, even with pigs fly. And you know why I'm saying that. It comes to a point where you must accept even what you don't want, because if it helps, you got to be all in or not in at all.
Okay, let me interrupt for a second. Alan, if you want to join it, it says your microphone and your camera are not connected. So either give permission for your microphone and your camera, or you can't join. That's all
It
I
always
can.
does that. He's got an old computer. That's why it does that. He keeps trying. He tries on our show all the time. I'd love to have
Okay.
Alan on,
I
but
would very much like to have
it's
him on
not.
too, but I can't.
I see where he actually said something in the private chat on the show chat here. Okay, I'm here,
Yeah.
but obviously I don't see him because I'm a guest. But
No, he
yeah,
came up right, and his
it'll come
box
up
came up.
as a white box.
Yeah, his box came up on the screen, and it says that his camera and his mic. He needs to connect his camera and his mic. One of these days, we'll get it figured out, and everybody will be able to come on.
Alan needs a new computer. That's what we
That's
figured
true.
out. We figured out he needs a better computer. That's all.
Yeah.
But
Don't buy
you know,
it.
something Dave
maybe
said
don't buy-
before.
Maybe somebody has something laying out there that they're not using to
Yeah.
help somebody get voice. And if you do, maybe you can reach out to Ellen to help them out. You know, this is how the world should turn, and on this side of the Western Hemisphere, reach out and try to help. If I did, I would offer it. I don't. I really don't.
Yeah.
But that's how it works. Hey, what's something interesting that Randy brings up that always puts us into this dissonance? The fact that our vote doesn't truly matter anymore. Well, you know, this is part of that scenario of our own kicking our balls from a constituent from our own side. Not that he's saying anything wrong. He has factual information there that we know about the Dominion. We know about the after 3 a.m. scenario. We know about everything and every movie and every piece of information that could possibly share throughout the United States that something bigger occurs. And he says that. And I know that's part of the fight. But we can't brainwash America by saying we're on this show being positive and then have that something like that featured as part of the conversation.
No.
Because that's a tear down of our own integrity within our own network right here on these shows. When we do them as factually truth as they are,
What?
there's certain topics that are just dangerous to touch, because if we make people believe that, we're telling our own patriots of America, it doesn't matter who you vote for, they're going to win nevertheless. And I take that as an insult in certain ways, but I take that as enlightenment. I welcome both. I really do. I'm not getting on Randy,
Okay.
but I'm just saying, where do we have that line of how we deal with something like that? Jared, what are your thoughts on that? Because that's a pretty harsh way to put it over when we're trying for the best of everything, the best. Even if it may not come, we're hanging into the end.
Well, this is what I tell people. I'm going to go vote. I'm not having any faith in it, but I'm going to go anyway. And I'm going to look up the candidates and I'm going to decide what's what. I'm going to try very hard to do it, you know, and vote for the right people or vote for somebody I think I got a shot with here. You know, I don't have any faith in the presidential election whatsoever, but I'm still going to vote for Trump. Because if, as long as he's on the ballot, as far as getting the nomination, which I see very little problem with him doing, I'm going to go vote for him.
I as well.
And that's
Dave, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going to.
I'm going to go
get up off the damn, off my chair or whatever I'm doing, and I'm going to go do it. I'm not going to sit on my ass and try to convince everybody not to. That's just silly.
Right.
If you have, that's what your plan is, then the only one that is being weak or, anything like that is you. You cannot sit there and say there's nobody to vote for, don't vote, and then bitch the rest of the year about what they're doing. You have, we're Americans, okay? You have to at least try. If you quit, that's as un-American as it can possibly get. Because if we had a bunch of quitters in the very beginning, okay, we would have nothing. We wouldn't be America now. We would be probably, held on to by England or whatever, like Ireland is. Right? I think it was Benjamin Franklin said he walked out the door and said, "We give you a republic if you can keep it." We haven't kept it, folks. And what Dave said is true. Convention of states, we change everything, we put new people in. They are going to end up the exact same way as the people we have now, unless we are vigilant, unless we get out there and say, no, you're not going to do this. And at the very least, vote them the hell out of office for what they are doing. Now, I agree, they have made that very, very difficult. But quitting at this point, and quite frankly, any point, is not an option, at least for me.
No.
And
No.
you know what? If you think that preaching things like, gathering things and trying to be ready for something is weakness or showing weakness, you're wrong. I would like for somebody to tell me how doing that makes you weak. I don't live my life in fear of anything. Nothing. Not one damn thing. Okay, other than maybe, my wife died or something, my daughter, something. Other than that, I don't live my life in fear of nothing. And if I want to do this, I'm going to do it in the same manner as I do everything else with I can do it. I may not know how to do it, but I know how to find out, and I'm going to find out, and I'm going to do it. And if you think that's, a weak stance, or you think we're teaching fear, or that's not fear. How is having enough a fear? Okay. How is, what happens at your house if the power goes out for 2 months or a week? I mean, and you have nothing. Who's going to be afraid then? What if it doesn't happen and you just got a bunch of extra stuff? What's the problem? People think whatever they want to think, and you can't, very seldom can you change their way of thinking because that would ruin their life or something. But here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And if anybody don't like it, I guess, whatever,
Yeah.
you can think of me how you will. That's fine. I don't really care. But it does not going to change anything. And what I plan on doing for the following year is also starting a show with different people on, with different ideas of how they can do things, how to do things. You know how many people out there can't set a fire without, like some lighter fluid and freaking, 20 matches. Okay. The small things, folks, they are important.
Yeah, they are. And I think as we support people, we must remember that positivity is the best element for victory. Now, not because I just said that and it sounds cool, but that's the fact of the truth. And even Donald J. Trump himself made the comment, I'll stay away from things that will cause controversial outcomes. And he will not talk about them, even if they're directed at him. He will reject them because he doesn't want that to implant negativity into one's mind. But we do have that happen on our shows, even by, and I didn't come back at the comment that he made, but it's all about the positivity and direction where I think all of us want the scenario to head to. But, we have to respect in ways all people's opinions and thoughts if they come up. But I think sometimes we have to direct, if we're going to move forward, we have to leave all the other bullshit off the table and concentrate on what you just said. I'm going to go vote. I'm going to be the one that makes the difference. I'm going to stay in this until the end. I'm not going to promote negativity, but I will create positivity for victory. And that's where I stand in this matter. And sometimes, no matter how many times we bring that up and say it to one individual, two individuals, three individuals, they keep forgetting the fortitude and the efforts that we are putting in to keep people focused one way. That way is to win.
But, the only thing we have that they haven't yet taken away from us is our vote. And I'm sure if they thought they could take the vote away from us, they would. And like Jerry said, I'm going to, if I have to hobble to the poll, my wife always drives me and waits and brings me home. But if I had to hobble to the poll,
here's the problem.
I'm going to go do it.
Here's the problem, though. You're wrong. They have taken our vote away because Joe Biden's president.
Right.
But does that mean we quit? No.
No.
That doesn't mean we
not.
quit.
No.
This time,
get up and go
let's try to outvote. Let's try to outvote the cheating this time. It's bad enough we're outvoting the dead people and outvoting the illegals and outvoting blah and blah and blah and blah. Now we got to outvote the cheating. Can we do it? That's the problem. Because they can do what they did last time, shut everything down, bring in enough ballots, and he wins. I don't know. All I know is you cannot quit. You are not only quitting on the United States of America as a country, okay, you are quitting on every single legal citizen in this country by not doing that.
I always remember growing up in California. I lived in Silicon Valley. And back in those days, it was a Republican swing county. It didn't matter which Republican ran or how many were running for the nomination. A Republican was going to be elected. And get out the vote was the big thing. Everybody coordinated, if you're elderly neighbor downstairs needed a ride to the poll, you put as many of them in your car as you could, and you all went and voted together. When I was a cab owner in Massachusetts, we used to give seniors, disabled, free ride to the poll and take them home because it was that important to get you out to vote. And like Jerry just said, like Michael said, Jerry was watching at 1 o'clock in the morning. I was watching at 1 o'clock in the morning. Trump was winning. I went to bed because I just couldn't stay awake any longer. But you know what? The Democrats planned something and they pulled it off. And that's why Joe Biden is the president today. And if you think they can do it again, they probably can. But like Jerry just said, if 84 million Republicans don't register and get out and vote, it's going to happen. And to those of you who sit there at home, oh, my vote doesn't matter, I don't have to go, he's probably not going to win, blah, 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 blah. Well, then you're part of the problem.
Well, I agree with that because you know what? By saying it, we all say it. You have no choice but to say it. Our topics are politics. We know what happened.
Right.
I knew during our show we were doing that night, everybody almost at the same time said something was wrong. Okay, literally, there's like 6, 8 people in the comments and a couple on screen. They all said the same thing. But the thing is, this was also done for something else. For people to say that kind of thing, all right, like voting don't count, and give people no reason to go vote again so that they could do whatever they want. Because make no mistake, my opinion, they've been doing this crap for years. They just maybe not a presidential election every time, but definitely been doing it under the card for many, many years. But if you sit there and listen to it and say, why should I bother? You will fall right into what they wanted, their little trap. Who wants to do that? You go out and you vote. It's not like you got to, like, I have not accepted the last election as free and fair. I will not accept the last election as free and fair. I may be doing the exact same thing this election, presidential election. I don't know. But what I do know is that I'm not going to quit. This is America. Yeah. Okay. We are Americans. Stop being afraid and start being Americans. It's that simple. It doesn't take much.
Agreed.
You go and you
Right.
do what is right. You go and you do what is just. And you let chips fall where they may, and then you deal with whatever you need to deal with. I can tell you this. They pull the same crap again, like they pulled in that last election. This country may just erupt. Because well, it
I
may just
think
erupt.
I think the riots that will happen if they pull anything like they did last time will basically be the launch of the Civil War. And if people don't, I mean, I'm not guaranteeing that just because Trump wins and there's no whatever, that's not going to launch a civil war either. But and even if they did take my vote away, I'm sorry. I guess I still have that core belief that they set this country up and gave every citizen a right to vote in a way of controlling the government that represents us. And yeah, it sucks because no, there's no reason why Chuck Schumer should be in for as long as he has. There's no reason why Nancy Pelosi should have been in. I mean, a House term is 2 years. If she's been in for 40 years, she's won a 2-year election every 20 years for 20 years. Well, it's longer than that because she's been in longer than that, probably. You know, there's no reason why Bernie Sanders, who's an independent, should have been in for so long. There's no reason why President Biden, who was a senator for 40 odd years and a vice president for 8 years, there's no reason why that should be happening. I've always felt that there comes a time in the generations, like we're the parents now, we raise the kids, they're now in their late 20s, early 30s, 40s, some were even older. And as we're going into our older years, you know, I figured we would turn it over to them. Does that scare me right now? Yeah, because I don't think a lot of our kids aren't qualified to do it. But the only thing we were ever guaranteed was the voice that God gave us, and you gotta vote. You gotta vote. That's all I can say is you gotta vote. And I mean, it doesn't mean that everybody who hears me say you gotta go vote has to go vote, but you have to vote. That's all I can say. You can sit here and bitch. We can come on and bitch 6 nights a week, and plus whatever Michael does on his own and others do on their own, and we can tell you.
I'm on a second show right now. I swear to God, I am.
Well, we can tell you. My thing is, the mission of Boogie with the Bull was not to tell you what you need to do. It was to give you the information so that you can make an informed decision and go do what you think you need to do. And if you're happy with the way the Democrats put Joe Biden in the White House in 2020, then don't vote. Stay at home and do whatever. But then, like Jerry said, don't bitch 6 months from now when we're worse. Well, it's longer than 6 months, but don't bitch 6 months after November when we're much worse off than we are now. You know, I mean, what you're eating isn't real food. If you listen and you listen to Michael, listen to Jerry, listen to countless others that come on, what you eat is not real food. And it kills me to say this, but I personally think a lot of what you're putting into yourself is designed to kill you, to take you out, to get rid of you, because they don't want us. They think they don't need us. I don't want to hear that anymore. We are the United States of America. That's who we are. I'm channeling my dad right now. We are the United States of America. And we're going through something that could make us as bad as, if not worse, than some of the third world countries out there right now. And I can't stand here and people aren't going to go vote. People aren't going to do anything. They're just going to give up and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Give up, not enjoy it, but they're just going to give up and go with it. Go ahead, Michael.
I just want to say I didn't mean for it to turn into a negative commentary that way, but I believe in positivity, and expression of that is more important than anything we have lived through. We got to let it be behind us because there's people working on it. If anything good will ever come out of it, probably we will never see it. The Q theory, the 17, or the QAnon, and Mike Lindell and everybody. Look, positivity, factual, but we are where we are. But to double down and say our vote will never matter again is only destroying our anything of the future that we can fight for. And I'm just going to say that I'm going to just stay in this as long as it takes. And as you guys said, when the chips fall, we'll face that reality. Well, if it could create or move into an implosion of the United States of America, finally seeing the truth to stand up for themselves, Lord knows what we can expect. But if we can keep that ethic off our platforms, and use more respectful terminologies or hypothesis, I think we will become stronger together, because it takes the fear out of people, because we're allowing a certain amount of fear to come with that back into what we're doing. And it's not that anybody's wrong. They're factually all right. But for us to keep that composure and element alive, we have to lead by our examples the best way we can, because our leadership has failed on every example. And we can't, together as patriots, do the same thing. And I don't mean to be offsided towards any particular comment unless I foresee it in some way hurting where we are pertaining to everything that we are up against. And again, positivity for victory.
Right.
Dave, I told you I wouldn't be able to stay the whole time. I'm actually blended into another show who's waiting for me to jump on. Thank you, everybody. Okay. Thank you, America.
Hey, thank you for coming.
I hope I touched some bases for some people, and just sending out the love to everybody. I'll see you all soon. And again, Jerry, hey, thank you, man. Always keep in touch. We'll talk again soon, guys.
All right, Michael.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, thank you for coming. Michael Anthony, Studio 10, broadcasting 10 o'clock talks. You see him all over the Facebook news feed. Best thing to do is go become his friend, and you'll know if he's doing a live broadcast, or you'll see and watch him. And he's on, sometimes you see him on the American Rebellion with Jerry, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, over on Rumble. And what do you think, Jerry? I mean, I know I get mad and I get riled up about it, but I get mad and I get riled up about it because I don't think people are listening, because I get the impression that people have already accepted, because the Democrats did it in 2020. They already have it worked out on how they're going to do it in 2024. And that delusion, go ahead.
I don't know if they have it worked out for 2020. I mean, they could, because they've already done it. They did it badly. It was not done well at all, as far as I'm concerned. But but they've had time to tweak it. They've had time to do this, and they're afraid of Trump, deathly afraid. There's only one reason you do all the things to someone that they're doing, and that's because you have fear of what they will do. So I think it's a possibility. I do. But you know what else is a possibility? They won't have to if we don't go out and do what we're supposed to do, which is vote.
Yeah.
I mean, they may not have to cheat if we have half the country sitting on our couch saying it doesn't matter. Okay. I mean, the outlook in this country, in my eyes, is very bleak. I'm not going to lie. You've heard my statements. You've heard a lot of things I've said, and I stand by those things. However, it doesn't mean quit.
No.
Okay? It doesn't mean quit. It means we keep talking about it and we keep saying the same things. Because you know what happens when you don't? It goes away.
Out of sight, out of mind.
And never seen again.
Yep.
Exactly. And our job, as I see it, is twofold. First of all, we are responsible somewhat. I don't want to make it sound huge or anything because it's not as huge as I'll probably make it sound. However, the things that are heard on our shows, that's important.
Yeah.
If, for instance, you know something is just not right, putting someone on who is going to do that, that's our job not to do that. Okay, whether you like it or not. All right, and we all have made mistakes at this, every last one of us. We have all believed in people that have let us down. We've all done that. Okay, but we got to keep getting back up and saying, okay, let's, we'll stop doing it this way. We'll do it this way or something like that. And it happens. Me personally, I feel a certain responsibility to people when I go on to try to have content that will help them, and so do the other people on with me.
Yep.
I don't necessarily think I'm here to teach anybody anything. I think I'm here more to enforce it into their minds of what they already know. Because you look at daily news in this country, and I do it. I do it every day. And you just sometimes just want to say, screw it. And I do a lot. And then I get, back up and do what I'm supposed to do. All right. It's, doing this is not easy all the time. Okay. But it still needs to be done, regardless of how large or small as we are. You may think you are, because sometimes, once in a while, it just takes one thing you're saying or trying to put across that changes something. I don't know if that's actually happened for us or you or anybody else, does this. But I do know that there is one thing we have left, and that is the can-do spirit of America, as corny as that sounds. And we're not going to quit. We're not going to do this. We're just going to bull forward and figure out a way. And we have done that throughout the history of this country, including the first people to land here, set up housekeeping, had a very, very rough time, and never quit. We have a legacy in this country that people do not often remember, and a lot don't even know. And that is a legacy of not giving up.
Yeah.
And doing things the way we want to do them and getting them done. And that is our legacy from the people who first came here.
Yep.
Do I think we should hoist them on our shoulders and, sing their praises? No. But I do think we need to take an example from them. We
Yep.
need to quit arguing with each other. Let's just start on our side alone. All right. Just because you don't like somebody's idea on something doesn't give you the right to call anybody names or tell them anything, blah, blah. Now, I agree. We got a lot of morons on our side, and that is damned hard. Sorry, sometimes, at least for me, to just not say, dude, you need to shut the hell up. But also remember that we do have freedom of speech. And if you don't know what freedom of speech is, I'll tell you. If you are walking down the street and you have a conversation with somebody and you hate every single word, they have the right to say it. That's freedom of speech. Okay.
Yeah.
And just because you don't like it, your freedom is to walk away and not listen to it. That's it.
Yep.
Your freedom is not to take it from someone else. And that's pretty much all I can say. And Dave, I appreciate you letting me on.
Yep. No problem.
And
You're welcome
always,
anytime.
Good show.
Yep. Thank you for coming.
Nice show tonight. Really.
Yep. Thank you for coming. And tomorrow night, 7 p.m. over on Rumble, the American Rebellion. You have to be a member of Rumble. It's free to sign up if you want to see the live chat over on Rumble. So join. It's really easy. It's as easy as joining Facebook, if not easier. So go over there, 7 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. A lot of good people there. Jerry's there. Jen Woodruff is usually there. Robert Lawless, the Minnesota Madman, pops in and out. Nikki Young is always there. And a whole lot of other people that come back and pop in every now and then. Well, go ahead.
If you want to see Larry and Alan make fun of me for 2 hours or more, that's a good place to go because they do it everywhere I go. It's like they're stalkers, actually. One of them's from Canada. I don't know what he has to say about anything. But I do have some questions for Larry tomorrow night about Canada because I've been seeing this new politician up there, and I was wondering what his thoughts on it were. I can't pronounce the guy's freaking name, but it starts with an L, and he's conservative, and he doesn't like he constantly is putting screw you, Alan. Anyway, constantly putting down Castro, and I just wanted to know what his thoughts on that were, if it was real or fake, or politician talk, or if he actually meant it. So that we'll be trying to find that out tomorrow night.
Yeah. All right, Jerry. Say hello to Michelle, and I hope everything's
and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yep. All right.
I will.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Take care. All right. Jerry Michael, American Rebellion. Like I said, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern start till they end. And go there and watch it and share it on Facebook. Good night, Jolene. Thank you for watching. Good night, Alan. Thank you for watching. Larry Burns, always a pleasure when you tune in. And I'm going to do something that I don't usually do, but you know what? Alan needs some help. So if you have that old, I don't know, desktop, something sitting in your garage that you're not using, you don't really need, you want to donate it to someone who could appreciate it, someone who's active, someone who would be on the broadcasts that he watches, and a valuable part of that. You let me know, and I'll put you in touch. Or you see Alan, you see Callan McMillan, message him on Messenger and see what you can do. And I know, everybody's got that old piece of whatever sitting in their arsenal of computers that they don't need, that maybe you can help them out with. And if you can, awesome. Or we'll have to start a GoFundMe page for everybody who needs to update their technology. But because America needs to help America. But so, again, thank you, Jolene. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Scott Holsey, for tuning in. And Dr. Craig Peterson was there with a comment. And let's see, Melinda Brown, Fortney, always a pleasure when you watch. Randy Rhodes, you got to just, for lack of putting it better, and I'll probably get in trouble for doing this, screw a pair and just come on. Okay? Nobody's mad at you. And if they yell at you, it can't be worse than when they yell at me when I'm on their broadcast too. Okay? I mean, I invented the boogie with the blowout. So, Boogie with a Bull is really just, like I said, it's just a place where, some people may come on and be planned to come on as guests, and they're in the live chat. And if I manage to type the right link into the live chat, and there's a camera open, anybody is welcome to come on and be a part. You don't have to be a retired former professional broadcaster who got fired because I couldn't stay awake. And you don't have to be any kind of broadcaster. Just put on the headphones if you got them, or turn on your mic and your camera and come and join us and tell us what you're thinking. Jane O'Malley, thank you for watching. Claudette Rhodes, Mrs. Randy Rhodes, thank you for watching. I got 2 monitors going so I can see Facebook, so sometimes I have to go over to this one. Dinah Warren, thank you for watching. Roland Hatton, who is a admin and moderator of our 15 groups. George Bostic, thank you for watching. I saw Keith D. William, the Hammer, was watching. I sent him a link. I would love to have him on because he's a former Marine, and Jerry is a former Marine, so it would have been an interesting conversation with them. And maybe if we can get Bill Muckler to come on a Tuesday or a Thursday, I know those nights are not usually good for him, but if we get Bill Muckler to come on one night, maybe even on the American Rebellion, Jerry will host it. We get a bunch of Marines and other retired military personnel to come on and talk. That would be an interesting broadcast too. Randy's retired. I don't remember, Air Force, Navy. I don't remember one of the two. So he would be welcome. I didn't serve. I got rejected trying to get into Marine boot camp. But anyway, it's coming up on 9 o'clock, and it's time to go to bed or eat dinner and go to bed and get ready to face Wednesday. So I thank everybody who watched Double B's for Victory. This Boogie with the Bull broadcast is going to come to an end. This is the part of the program where I say you've been watching Boogie with the Bull. Tuesday Night Live, a copyrighted presentation of the No Budget Broadcasting Company. We own everything, and if you think we don't, then contact me on Facebook Messenger or email me at boogiewiththebull@gmail.com, and we'll go from there. Anyway, if you want to be on the program, again, you can message me on Facebook Messenger, and you can email me at boogiewiththebull@gmail.com if you want to do it that way as well. The link goes into a chat group on Messenger by 6:45 every Tuesday or Thursday. That's 6:45 Eastern, so adjust your time accordingly. You are more than welcome to come on. And like I said, you don't have to be someone who does broadcast. You can just be a Facebook member and fellow American citizen who has something you think you need to say to America, and you're more than welcome to join us, and I hope you will. So Double B's for Victory, this Boogie with the Bull broadcast is going to come to an end. And that way we'll come down one more time. Double B's for Victory, this Boogie with the Bull broadcast did come to an end. And like I said, tomorrow over on Rumble, on the American Rebellion channel, catch the American Rebellion with Jerry Michaels and Dickie Young and a whole bunch of others that are over there. I'll either be on or in the live chat or both, and we will go from there. So Thursday night, come see us, and we'll start packing up 2023, getting it on the books again. If you're going to have some New Year's resolutions this year, we'd love to hear them. And we'll go from there. I'm Dave Boog, and you're not. Thank you for watching. And we'll hit this one.